Better get ready for the most bullish cycle in Bitcoin's history because just a couple days ago, a secret meeting was held by none other than Blackrock. They were talking Bitcoin, and this is not a first for them having closed door meetings around Bitcoin. But the big news is that following the meeting, it has been announced by Blackrock that sovereign wealth funds and pensions are coming to Bitcoin. Just how bullish is this? Well, massively. Maybe they all heard Tim Draper and realized the dollar's going to zero. And now might be the time for them to buy the dip and ape into Bitcoin. Hey, and according to Draper, the dollar's demise could be just 7 years away. Stay until the finish. We have some controversial news coming out of MicroStrategy's Bitcoin for Corporations 2024 event that you're definitely not going to want to miss. Let's go. Let's just dive into it. A couple days ago, again, BlackRock hosted this investing conference with industry leaders at the BlackRock headquarters. This is big news, but what came out of it, because, me and others, especially Joe Kerr right here, very skeptical, what is going on? Then the news was dropped this morning at 7:45. BlackRock sees sovereign wealth funds and pensions coming to the Bitcoin ETFs. And the real meat of this was a quote coming from Robert Mitchnick. Here's what he had to say. Many of these interested firms, whether we're talking about pensions, endowments, sovereign wealth funds, insurers, other asset managers, family offices, they're all having ongoing diligence and research conversations, and we're playing a role from an education perspective, Mitchnick said. And the interest is not new. BlackRock has been talking about Bitcoin to these sorts of institutions for several years. This is massively bullish and lining up with kind of previous cycles. It's kind of par for the course to have these little retracements. Big dogs sell into strength, but BlackRock is expecting the next wave of Bitcoin ETF buyers to include sovereign wealth funds and pensions. But what does that really mean? Because I was wondering, sovereign wealth funds, is this like Saudi Arabia's checkbook? Like, how much money is this? Sometimes these are misleading. So went ahead and took a look. Got this from Statista, but the total wealth in sovereign wealth funds is approximately 12 trillion. Now, I went over here to CRS reports. Pension IRA total wealth there is approximately 41 trillion. So there you have about 53 trillion total and a 1% allocation to Bitcoin just from those two. Well, that's $500 billion from them alone in a 1% allocation. That's why this is massively bullish and things can get really out of hand real fast because we just had the halving. Supply shock is in effect. Only like 2 million Bitcoin left on exchanges, and we thought we've seen demand. We have not seen anything yet this cycle. We're just getting started. But what has people flipping on Bitcoin? For example, BlackRock trashed Bitcoin for a long time. Larry Fink shit on it. But while apparently having closed door meetings and talking to people about it for years, now he's a super bull. But I think Tim Draper is really on point here. People are waking up and they're realizing they need to buy Bitcoin before the dollar goes to zero. And if that's only in 7 years, we better get to stacking our asses off.
Too late to buy Bitcoin when there's a run on the dollar.
Yes.
I mean, people don't understand what that was like unless they were a part of Silicon Valley Bank when it was collapsing in that Thursday to Sunday. They got a little bit of a window of what happens when there's a run on a bank. So when people are saying, I get my money out, I need my money out. But there's a moment where Confederate dollars are completely worthless. And I think the same thing could be happening in the next 7 years. Sometime in the next 7 years, I think that we will have that cataclysmic event. And I hope anybody who's watching this is trying to at least have some Bitcoin so that they can feed their family during the time when the dollar goes to zero.
Larry Fink sounds a lot like Tim Draper too, as he said, Bitcoin's going to transcend any national currency. This is where we are in the story.
Where I came around to it, and I came around to a different interpretation 3 years ago, that there's a lot of merit to it. There's a lot of opportunity if people believe that it can be an asset that can be cross-border. And let's be clear, if you're in a country where you're fearful of your government, or you're frightened that your government is devaluing its currency by too much deficits,
like us.
I'm not going to go there. You could say this is a great potential long-term store of value.
And again, Bitcoin is taking a little dip right now. You want to take advantage. The current halving is kind of behaving similar to 2016, and that was a as usual, buy the dip event. And here is a list of all the Bitcoin pullbacks dating to the bear market bottom of 2022. We've had a 23%, a 21%, 22%, 21%, 18%, and 23.6% pull downs. But this one is currently the deepest in the cycle thus far, with Bitcoin 23% off its all-time high. Why does it feel so bad right now? Well, Bitcoin Archive nails it. This is the second longest run of red weekly candles in Bitcoin history. Both times we're deep into a bear market, and look at the responses. Looks like Bitcoin's oversold and it's about to melt faces. Everyone is panicking. When there's blood in the streets and people are crying and drowning, you need to just swim in it. Take advantage. You basically got a raise. You get more sats for every cuck buck. And if this is the hammer candle reversal, you want to be getting on board right now. A lot of bullish news, and there was some bullish news out of the Bitcoin for Corporations event. It was former PayPal president David Marcus that stole the show there with a discussion with Michael Saylor on the Lightning Network and Bitcoin in the future, Bitcoin, the internet of money, what Lightning means in the grand scheme of things. Let's check it out.
An exchange of value between a network of AI agents performing tasks for us humans. What is the currency that you're going to use? It has to be digital native. It can't be something that requires the friction of converting non-digital money into digital money. So it has to be digitally native. And no one in the world will accept any form of native digital value that's not maximally neutral. The Europeans are not going to accept an American version of a digital asset or vice versa. Like, what is the most neutral form of digital native internet money? It's Bitcoin. And so if you make it super efficient, super fast, real time, at the speed of AI transactions, that's basically going to be the native currency of AI. And it's kind of this interesting thing where, a few years ago, there was this article that blew my mind that Google Translate built AIs to do the translation service, which is like pretty remarkable what they did with it with this level of fidelity. But they figured out that this AI that was actually using unassisted learning, unaided learning, came up with its own language. And it was kind of its own neutral language to basically translate one language to another using its own thing. And so what is it going to be for value between AI agents? Definitely Bitcoin, because that's the neutral language of value on the internet, native.
I mean, awesome. Former PayPal president, Bitcoin is the neutral settlement network for all payments in the world. Pretty awesome, and it is true. And that is a wonderful appeal with everyone going full statist, wanting to sanction everyone, control their money, which is like controlling their speech. Global tyranny is reaching an all-time high, which is also why people are fleeing to Bitcoin at a record high. Not to mention the fiat world crumbling. You guys have seen the Japanese yen. Japan definitely needs to buy some Bitcoin right now. Maybe they are. As news from VanEck says, about 175 billion in Bitcoin is held by various countries, ETFs, and companies. Very bullish. And also we can see the ETF news and dip mirroring the US ETF news and dip. So this is all par for the course is what I'm saying. In the 2016 to 2018 bull run, there were 6 drawdowns of approximately 30%. Those are opportunities. And if you don't jump in, it looks like the sovereign wealth funds are. All right, now it looks like GigaChad has been taking it on the chin. Some controversial news coming out of the Bitcoin for Corporations event. Now, what was it? Before we dive into it, let's take a minute to recognize our sponsors, the Bitcoin Way, because taking self-custody has never been more important. That is the revolution. Bringing over 25 years of experience in cybersecurity, the Bitcoin Way is your IT team in the Bitcoin world. They'll help take you from that why Bitcoin to the how Bitcoin. From setting up your first wallet node all the way up to inheritance planning, accepting Bitcoin payments for your business. They cover all aspects of Bitcoin security and privacy. They even work with their clients to configure routers, devices, and networks. Also, not to mention UTXO management, in short for everything in Bitcoin sovereignty and privacy related. They are your go-to source. Hey, looking to get started? You can schedule a free 30-minute consultation using that link below. Okay, so we know Michael Saylor's had this thing about fighting the spam people, fighting the bots, MicroStrategy, decentralized identity solution leveraging ordinals? Yeah, I wonder why it's attracting criticism from Bitcoin proponents. Here's Cedar.io. How do you fellow Bitcoin inscribers? There is Sailor in a wizard cap. Oh, here we got another one. Sailor in a rainbow llama shirt. The internet is undefeated. Vikingo going full animal right here. I can't wait to link my stack to the new Sailor ID system. But yeah, guys, this got pretty hairy yesterday. Dylan LeClaire was the first one to put it out because he was obviously at the event. DID. So I just think digital ID is not good for you and me. I also understand some people are going to build layer 2 and layer 3s, and sometimes they're going to be dumb as long as they don't mess with the base layer. It's whatever. Giacomo nails it. One ID for one UTXO doesn't scale. We need Todd-style single-use seals. If it did, we would already have. And these are things that already been tried. BitOff, BitID, Ion, and other hundreds of attempts. And when I was researching, I heard a lot of people talk about Ion. Even if another attempt like that was needed, using the term inscription or saying that the witness saves block space is highly regarded. Remember first principles and remember why we're here. We're here to separate money from state, and that is why Bitcoin will exist for the next 1,000 years, not because of JPEGs and whatever other shitcoinery. Hey, what do you guys think of the news? Let us know what you think below. Comment on Twitter as well. We need to get the discussion going. I need to learn more about this. First impression is totally regarded. Bitcoin is the hardest, soundest money ever created or discovered, and it's here to dance as the fiat palaces burn. And nothing's gonna stop it, ladies and gentlemen. Imagine if this is the last time the human race will ever witness Bitcoin prices in the 50Ks. You need to take full advantage. Ladies and gentlemen, trillions are coming into Bitcoin. It's not if, it's when. And it seems like the bigger numbers are bringing bigger numbers, and the full institutional nation-state IRA pension fund flood is coming. You better be stacking your ass up. Because something like this is what could lead Bitcoin to the prophetic Omega candle, $1 million Bitcoin. Maybe it's not so far-fetched. Be sure to check that out. Be sure to like, subscribe, share the Sound Money Gospel. Give us a pump. Be sure to follow us on Twitter for all the latest breaking Bitcoin news. And don't miss the #1 live Bitcoin-only news show, Simply Bitcoin Live, coming at you Monday through Friday at 12:15 Eastern Standard Time. Keep sticking, my friends. Valhalla awaits. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship, fuck you.